If your I am work feels like strain, stop. Stop. When the sacred name becomes heavy on your tongue, it is because a person has climbed behind it and is trying to make it true by effort. You have hitched a little self to a great word and asked it to pull the heavens. No wonder it groans. An I am that weighs you down is not the I of God realized as presence. It is a human voice attempting to imitate the thunder. Let us not continue one step on that road. Stop and look within. The controversy is not with the words themselves. I am are holy words when they are revelation. Moses heard, I am that I am. The Master declared, before Abraham was, I am. But listen now. The problem is the hidden assumption that a human ego can take those words and build a new life, manufacture a new body, mint a new bank account. As long as you believe there is power in a good thought, even a good I am thought, you are far from the kingdom. Thought is not power, God is. Take no thought for your life, the Master said. Who by taking thought can add a cubit to his stature, or make one hair white or black? Who by taking thought can realize God? Not one. So we must ask at the very beginning the question that governs all the rest of our time together. What is the I in I am? If it is the human personality, then let us be honest. I am weak. I am limited. I am frightened. I am trying. Be very firm in your understanding of your own inadequacy. The Master's confession is the doorway out of this burden. I can of my own self do nothing. The Father within me doeth the works. The I that says I am in truth is not the personality, not the body, not the history, not the thinking mind. It is the impersonal, infinite presence that was before Abraham, is now, and will be when the worlds are dust. God is one. When you put a person behind I am, you hitch it to effort, to tomorrow, to comparison, to fear. Then it becomes a stone in the mouth. But when no person stands there, when the tongue grows quiet and the heart yields, I am is weightless, effortless, like air breathing itself. Be still and know that I am God. Not be noisy and try to be God. Not construct a ladder of sentences to climb up to God. Be still. Know. In that knowing, there are no mental gymnastics, no spiritual calisthenics, no heroic affirmations. You can't see it, hear it, taste it, touch it, smell it, or think it. You can only be it because it is being. I promise you a different way, and you can begin it now. Not more statements, not more trying to convince the mind. Recognition, receptivity, the impersonal I received in stillness. Let your tongue fall out before you lecture God. Hold those teeth together. Sit even for a minute and let the heart whisper without words. God is. That is all. God is. The Lord is. That's all. Do not add adjectives. Do not add goals. Do not add a timetable. Your Father knoweth what things ye have need of before ye ask. If God is, then being is present, wholeness is present, life is present. Let it announce itself as it will. We begin here because if the foundation is human effort, the structure will collapse under its own pious weight. But if the foundation is God is, and the I is no longer a private struggler but the presence itself, then you will find the burden gone and the yoke easy. We will move together from the letter of words to the spirit of realization, but even now you can taste it in the silence. Not I am trying, not I am becoming. As long as God is, I am not as a person, but as presence. Sit in that, and you will find the weight of I am dropping from your shoulders like a garment you never needed to wear. Now, listen carefully, because here the fork in the road appears. There are two elements to this work, the letter of truth and the spirit of truth. The letter is the word, the phrase, the quotation, the affirmation, the beautiful sentence that can be written in a notebook and recited at dawn and dusk. The spirit is that which the word points to and never contains. The letter is the signpost. The spirit is the country itself. The letter can train the mind to be attentive. The spirit opens the heart to presence. The letter killeth, but the spirit giveth life. If all you have is the letter, you have a mouthful of words and very little bread. If you have the spirit, even a whisper heals. The mind loves the letter because the letter feels like control. You can stack sentences like bricks. You can count them. You can raise a tower by dawn and say, "There, I've done my work." But the tower leans, the wind blows, and you wake with the same fear you put to bed, only more tired. Why? Because the letter without spirit is motion without presence, effort without grace. It is noise in the temple. The Master warned, "Use not vain repetitions, as they think they shall be heard for their much speaking." Don't go on with vain repetitions. Stop, stop, if the words are not dissolving into silence, into that quiet awareness of God they are only polishing the surface of a mirror that still reflects a frightened face. Do you see the reversal? You imagine that affirming truth is the opposite of fearing error. In practice, they can be twins when both are animated by the same belief that thought is power. As long as you believe there is power in a good thought, you are far from the kingdom. A good thought does not heal any more than a bad thought can destroy the life of God. Thought is not the power. God is power. God is one. Affirming truth as a mental weapon is almost as useless as entertaining fear as a mental curse, because both enthrone mind as a cause, who by taking thought, good or bad, can add a cubit to his stature, who by taking thought can summon the presence that already is, not one. I say this not to scold the student of words, for we have used the letter to bring us to this threshold. The letter is a lamp. It has guided you to the door. Give thanks for the lamp. Now put the lamp down and enter the room. The room is spirit. The room is silence. The room is the felt fact that God is, and that this God is one, and that within the one there is nothing else to oppose, improve, resist, or manipulate. In that awareness, words fall away of themselves, not by force, not by discipline even, but like dew evaporating in the sun. Let your practice be this. Begin with the letter only as a turning. One phrase is enough, God is. Not to accumulate, not to convince the mind, not to build a structure, but to pivot. Then be still. Be very still. Hold those teeth together. Let your tongue fall quiet before you talk to God. Be on the receiving end. I can of my own self do nothing. The Father within me doeth the works. When the Spirit dawns, the prayer is wordless. The treatment is nothing but recognition, and you will discover that works appear without your mental agency. Harmony by grace, not by might, not by power. We are not here to perfect affirmations. We are here to leave the realm in which human thought is considered power. Let the mind stand aside as witness, not as engineer. Acquaint now thyself with him and be at peace. The letter has led you to the water. The spirit is the drinking. Drink, and you will see that words about truth do not heal. Realized consciousness of truth heals. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. God is, the Lord is, that's all. Now let us look straight at the hidden idol that sits in many bright sanctuaries with a smile on its face and a string of positive sentences in its hand. As long as you believe there is power in a good thought, you remain in the same cage as the one who believes there is power in a bad thought. It is the cage of two powers. It is the old tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Eat from it, and you will surely labor. You will spend your days polishing one side of a coin whose other side you have granted equal reality. And why are you tired? Because you have enthroned mind as a cause and then appointed yourself its priest. Affirmation culture, so-called, often unseats fear and replaces it with will. It sets down a gray thought and stands up a golden one, and then bows to the new idol as savior. But it is the same altar. You can arrange the mental furniture beautifully. You can hang the word love in gilded letters on the wall and still be living in the house of strain. Use not vain repetitions, the master said, for they think they shall be heard for their much speaking. Affirmations used as levers to pry open heaven are still bargaining with a God you imagine is outside and needs convincing. Stop, stop. The Spirit does not come by coaxing. Grace does not answer to mind. I am not saying that a true idea cannot appear to your thought. Of course, illumination may present itself as a word within you. But listen, the word is not the power. The presence to which it witnesses is the power. God is power. Therefore, there is only one power. If there is one power, then a so-called bad thought has no power to harm, and a so-called good thought has no power to heal. Thought is a transparency at best, a fog at worst, and in neither case is it a cause. There is no such thing as mortal mind in and of itself. It is a term denoting nothingness. That which you fear in thought is a shadow, and that which you trust in thought is also a shadow. Not by might, nor by power, but by my Spirit, saith the Lord. Who by taking thought, good thought, can raise the dead? Who by taking thought, polished thought, can add a cubit to his stature or command the wind and the sea? The Master did not take thought. He retired to the mountain, to the garden, to the silence. He said, I can of my own self do nothing. The Father within me doeth the works. If you fight thought with thought, you enthrone thought. If you oppose fear with optimism, you still bow to mental causation. Better to let both fear and optimism pass like birds across a sky that neither invites nor resists. God is one. That sky is presence. I know the seduction. It feels practical to say, I will replace this with that. And for a moment, the nervous system agrees. But an opiate is not oxygen. The peace that results from successful self-talk is a managed mood, not spiritual realization. It collapses when the wind rises. Harmony by grace does not collapse. It appears as a law unto itself because it is God fulfilling God. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Not where the strongest affirmation is, nor where the cleverest sentence is, but where Spirit is recognized as already here. Let this be very clear for the road ahead. If thought is not power, then the thinker is not power. If a good idea cannot heal by virtue of its goodness, then the personal I that manufactures good ideas cannot be your savior. Be very firm in your understanding of your own inadequacy, not as shame, but as doorway. For if the personal thinker is not the healer, something else must be I when I say I. We will find that I, not in the echo of sentences, but in the still reality that was before any sentence formed. God is one, and in that oneness, the idol of thought topples without a struggle, and a new kind of doing without a doer comes quietly into view. Be very firm in your understanding of your own inadequacy. Do not soften it with a pious gloss. Take it as a hard mercy, a severe kindness from the Spirit that refuses to let you labor in a lie. I can, of my own self, do nothing. Hear it not as a sentence of defeat, but as the opening of prison doors. It is the key that falls from heaven and strikes the lock with a clear sound. The Master did not say, I can do most of it and you finish the rest. He said, I can of my own self do nothing. The Father within me doeth the works. If you will take that into your marrow, You will stop trying to be a private savior and begin to witness salvation by grace. I know this weariness among you, the jaw tight with effort, the breath shallow, the heart pushing, I am this, I am that, like a laborer lifting the same stone from one side of the yard to the other and back again. The personal self is trying to force identity, force health, force supply, force peace, always force. Not by might, nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord. The churn beneath your affirmations is not spirituality. It is fear in a velvet coat. It is the nervous system pledging allegiance to strain. Be honest. Disciplined honesty is love in action. If you are trying to become spiritual by repeating I am, feel the tension in the back of the neck, in the chest, and stop. Hold those teeth together. Let your tongue fall quiet before you talk to God. Be still. Now watch the blessed reversal. When the personal doer is dismissed, not degraded, but released from a job it never had, the Father within announces itself not with fireworks, but as a quiet, self-evident is. God is. The Lord is, that's all. You cannot see it, hear it, taste it, touch it, smell it, or think it. You can only yield to it as presence. In that yielding, works appear. Health appears as law fulfilled. Supply appears as sufficiency present. Peace appears as the atmosphere of the kingdom. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Liberty from pushing. Liberty from managing outcomes with syllables. Liberty from the fear that if you rest, the universe will forget you. Who by taking thought can become holy? Who by tightening the will can draw breath from grace? Who by reciting can raise the dead thing in a heart? Not one. The Father within doeth the works. When you stop pretending to be the engineer of God and take your seat as witness, the river carries the boat. Be still and know that I am God. Not be clever, not be fervent. Be still and know. Surrender the entire premise of personal capacity. Say within yourself, with courage, of myself I do nothing. Let me turn this over now to the Father. Father, reveal thyself. Thy will is presence enough. This is not passivity. This is the only true activity. It is the activity of divine life appearing as your life by grace. When the doer dissolves, the I that remains is not weak. It is not a vacancy. It is the impersonal I that was before Abraham. It is the very word that was in the beginning. That is the light of every man that cometh into the world. You are not invited to vanish into nothingness. You are invited to be transparent to the only something. In that transparency, you discover that healing does not begin with a statement. It begins with a dismissal. The personal doer sits down. The Father stands forth. And harmony, which was never absent, is recognized. Make this exchange practical. The next time you feel the urge to push an affirmation up a hill, stop on the first step. Breathe. Admit, I cannot of myself heal a flea, save a soul, mend a bone, balance a book. Then, without a syllable more, wait. Acquaint now thyself with him, and be at peace. Let silence have the first word and the last. Let grace have the work. God is one. As long as you believe there are two powers, your will and God's, you will stagger. When you know there is one, and that the Father within is the doer and the deed, you will rest, and in that rest, works will bear witness. Now then, if the personal doer has been excused from a job it never had, who remains to say I? Who is this I that appears in the morning cheerful, in the afternoon weary, in the evening thoughtful? Is it the one who rises and falls with moods? Is it the one whose bank book grows and shrinks, whose body gains and loses, whose calendar fills and empties? If that is I, then I is a flicker on a wall. But Something in you has watched all of that come and go. Who has seen the changing? The seer cannot be the seen. From childhood to this hour, the picture has altered again and again. Voice, height, opinion, address, companions, successes and losses. The river of circumstances has never repeated the same ripple twice. And yet, haven't you sensed a constant, a quiet sameness of being that did not age with the body nor crumble with the plans? What is that? Not the body, for the body is a garment swapped out season by season. Not the history, for memory itself edits its pages. Not the thinking mind, for thoughts are birds that land and lift. Land and lift. You are aware of thought, therefore you cannot be thought. You are aware of the body, therefore you cannot be the body. You are aware of the dates and names and labels, therefore you cannot be the labels. Who, then, are you? Listen to the witness of silence. You cannot see it, hear it, taste it, touch it, smell it, or think it, yet you are aware. There is an I that remains when the senses go to sleep, when the mind runs out of sentences, when the story pauses for breath. That I did not begin with your birth certificate and will not end with a stone. Before Abraham was, I am. That is not a boast of personality. That is the revelation of impersonal presence. I live, yet not I, but Christ liveth in me. Hear it rightly, not a better human shining through, but being itself appearing as this you. In him we live and move and have our being, not in our opinions, not in our moods, not in our fleshly assignments, in him. Do not attempt now to construct a superior self-image and christen it spiritual. That is the old craft in new paint. Do not tack adjectives on your person and call it realization, healthy, wealthy, holy, luminous. The real I is not an improved portrait. It is the light by which every portrait is seen. It is presence before the brush touches the canvas, life before breath measures its tide, spirit before words point and miss. My thoughts are not your thoughts, saith the Lord. Of course not, for the eye of God is before and beyond thought. It is the stillness that says, I am, without syllables. How do you verify this? Not by proof to the senses there is none, not by debate to the intellect it will tire. You verify it by resting where it verifies itself. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and let the knower reveal itself as your own being. Let the parade pass without salutes. Let the mind present its wares and decline to purchase. Stand before the mirror and admit, I am not the image. Walk through the rooms of memory and admit, I am not the furniture. Sit at the edge of thought and admit, I am not the speech. Then what am I? I am that impersonal presence which is not born and does not die, which neither fears nor grasps, which has no opposite because God is one. Now watch the miracle of lightness. When I is no longer strapped to body, history, and thinking mind, the holy name ceases to be a burden. The tongue need not push. The heart need not strain. We do not begin with I am as a personal claim. We begin with God is as a fact before the world. God is the Lord is, that's all. Rest there until the impersonal I, that is God's very being, dawns as your being. Then and only then does I am speak itself without a person behind it. Then the yoke is easy and the burden light, for the I that says I am is not trying to become. It is simply being itself. Acquaint now thyself with him and be at peace, and let the impersonal I stand where the private struggler used to stand. As long as God is I am, understand, not as a man or woman trying to be, but as presence realized prior to thought. Let us make this very simple now, so simple that the mind will be offended and the heart relieved. Not a paragraph, not a crafted treatment, not a staircase of ideas, 2 words that end the argument. God is. Say it once, perhaps twice, not to persuade yourself, but to stop yourself. God is. Full stop. Do not add an adjective. Do not tack on a need. Do not turn the key and then keep jiggling the lock. God is. And then be still. Why does this work? Because it takes you out of the manager's chair and puts you back on the receiving end of grace. It establishes at the outset the one power. If God is, there is no second power to flatter or fear. There is no opposite to battle. If God is, then thought is not power, effort is not power, will is not power. Not by might, nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord. This 2-word treatment removes you from the strain of trying to get God to be God and restores you to the sanity of recognizing that God already is. Your Father knoweth what things ye have need of before ye ask. With God is, you are not building, you are beholding. Now watch the internal shift. Before, you were telling God a long letter addressed to heaven, explaining conditions and offering advice. With God is, you become acquainted with what is already true. Acquaint now thyself with him and be at peace. You are not informing, you are consenting. You are not coaxing supply, fixing a body, or correcting a world. You are standing in the fact before facts. God is. In him we live and move and have our being. If that is so, then being is already here, movement already ordered, life already whole, not as a future, not as a personal achievement, but as presence. Make it practical. Sit down. Hold those teeth together. Let your tongue fall quiet before you talk to God. Whisper within, God is. Let the words fall into silence, like a pebble into a still pond, and do not chase the ripples. If the mind rushes to finish the sentence, God is my health, God is my supply, stop, stop. That is the manager returning through the side door with a clipboard. Do not argue with it. Do not decorate it. Just return, God is. Each time the mind invents an addition, you subtract it with stillness. Each time the heart becomes urgent, you answer not with remedy, but with recognition. God is. As you rest there, do not look for a sensation. Do not demand a sign. You can't see it, hear it, taste it, touch it, smell it, or think it, and yet a quiet begins to gather, a softness and ease without reason. Peace appears not because you arranged the furniture of thought, but because you stopped crowding the room. Be still and know that I am God. That knowing is not a conclusion, it is an appearing. It comes as silence that feels like safety. It comes as a gentle pressure without words. It comes as the hush of psalm song. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Notice, the Lord is, not will be if you affirm enough, not was if you behave better, is. Do not turn this into a new formula. You do not repeat God is as if the counting mattered. You use it as a door. Open, step through, and let the door swing shut behind you. Remain in the room of presence until the room tells you it is there, until peace is tangible, not dramatic, just true. When peace is tangible, you have crossed from letter to spirit. You have stopped telling and started knowing. That knowing is prayer. That knowing is treatment. That knowing is the law fulfilling itself, because God is one. If after a minute the mind grows restless, that is fine. Do not wrestle it, do not lecture it, return once more, God is. And wait. 5 breaths, 30 heartbeats. A small willingness to let God be God without your edits. In that willingness, the strain dissolves. The burdened I steps aside. The impersonal I stands forth as the very atmosphere of your being. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. And the Spirit of the Lord is where you cease managing and begin recognizing God is. The Lord is. That's all. Prayer begins when you stop talking. Prayer begins when you stop improving your sentences. Prayer begins the moment you consent to be on the receiving end of God, not informing, not advising, not editing reality with pious vocabulary. Your Father knoweth what things ye have need of before ye ask. If God is, then prayer is not construction. Prayer is recognition. It is the inner yes to the ever-present is. The mind would like to build a future with holy words. The Spirit gives you the present in silence. When ye pray, use not vain repetitions, as though ye shall be heard for your much speaking. Don't go on. Stop. Stop. Let your body help you obey. Hold those teeth together. Let your tongue fall out before you talk to God. Enter your closet and shut the door, not a wooden door, but the door of speech. Be still. Do not bring in the shopping list of fear disguised as devotion. Do not describe conditions to omniscience. Do not drag symptoms into the sanctuary and expect the sanctuary to applaud your report. The Lord is. That's all. If the Lord is, the only prayer is, be it unto me according to thy word. And even that gives way to a wordless consent, an inner leaning into presence without aim. Do you see the reversal? Affirmations try to build a bridge to tomorrow. True prayer lets the ground of now hold you. Affirmations attempt to make truth true by repetition. True prayer witnesses truth as already true by grace. You cannot move God. You cannot bribe God. You cannot persuade God. Prayer doesn't change God. Prayer changes you from a teller to a receiver, from an engineer of outcomes to a transparency for presence. I can of my own self do nothing. The Father within me doeth the works. In prayer, that ceases to be a quotation and becomes atmosphere. The impersonal I dawns not as an idea, not as a brighter thought, but as a felt stillness that requires nothing and heals everything it touches. Who by telling God can lengthen a life? Who by narrating lack can multiply loaves? Who by explaining disease can draw virtue out of the hem of Christ? Not one. But stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. In quietness and confidence shall be your strength. Prayer is that quietness, that confidence, that standing still. You can't see it, hear it, taste it, touch it, smell it, or think it, and yet it appears as peace where fear had a throne. It appears as a gentle radiance in the chest, a softening of the will, an atmosphere that says without syllables, I am. When that appears, works are already underway because the one power has been acknowledged as all. Make it practical. Sit down, close your mouth, whisper within once God is, and then let the whisper sink beneath all waters. 5 breaths, 30 heartbeats. Attend, not invent. If a thought knocks with a project, how to fix, how to get, do not open the door. Let the knock pass. Hold those teeth together. Be still. Turn your face inward and say without words, Father, reveal thyself. Then wait. Do not check your watch. Do not check your pulse. Acquaint now thyself with him and be at peace. The appearing of peace is the appearing of God, and where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. This is the altar upon which personal effort is dismissed and grace is law. Here the impersonal I unveils itself, not a better personality, not a holy mood, but presence before thought. That recognition is the healer. It does not come by might, nor by power, nor by perfectly arranged phrases. It comes because God is God. Treat prayer then as receptivity. Treat God as omniscience. Let your devotion be silence that listens, not chatter that coaches. Seek first the kingdom of God. Seek first to realize this. And all these things are added, not manufactured. God is, the Lord is, that's all. In that all, the work is done. For the Father within doeth the works. Be still and know. Now we must make a correction that may sting a little, but will save you years. The instant you take the holy name and strap it to a shopping cart, I am healthy, I am abundant, I am loved, to go down the aisles and collect results. You have left the sanctuary and entered the marketplace. Why? Because your attention is on the thing and on the one who must get the thing. Your attention is on the lack and the laborer. The sentence may be golden, but the posture is strained. You have placed a person behind I am, a person who must make something happen. And there it grows heavy. Feel it. The neck tightens. The breath shortens. The temple of the living God has become a workshop for outcomes. Don't go on. Stop. Stop. Here is the paradox the Spirit will not let us ignore. The more you try to demonstrate a condition, the more you announce to your own heart that the condition is absent and must be achieved by effort. Take no thought for your life, said the Master. Who by taking thought, polished, fervent thought, can add a cubit to his stature? The very attempt becomes an admission of two powers, one called lack, one called your technique to overcome it. As long as you believe a clever use of I am can move mountains, you are far from the kingdom, because you still believe I am is a lever in the hands of a person. That is letter without spirit. That is the idol of thought dressed in white robes. Return to the single fact. God is one. If God is one, there is no second power to oppose, flatter, or persuade. Health, wholeness, supply. These are not achievements to be constructed out of syllables. They are revelations of what is when the mist clears. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Notice, not will be when I succeed at affirmation, but is. Your Father knoweth what things ye have need of before ye ask. If that is so, prayer does not engineer, it yields. Treatment does not manufacture, it recognizes. In Him we live and move and have our being. Not in our declarations, in Him. Therefore, we do not use I am as a tool. We allow I am to be the recognition of God's being appearing as our being. Before Abraham was, I am. This is not a slogan for a personality. It is the voice of impersonal presence that precedes every condition. I live, yet not I, but Christ liveth in me. Hear it, not a better self accomplishing, but being itself revealing. When the name speaks itself, it speaks without effort, without aim, without opposite. You can't see it, hear it, taste it, touch it, smell it, or think it, and yet peace appears, and in that peace works are already underway, because the one power has been acknowledged as all. Make it plain and practical. The next time you reach for I am healthy to get well, stop on the edge of the sentence. Feel the strain at the root of it, the little engineer revving the motor. Be very firm in your understanding of your own inadequacy. I can of mine own self do nothing. Then whisper once, God is, and let the whisper sink. Do not add an adjective. Do not finish the sentence for God. If the mind brings you a project, how to fix, do not open the door. Hold those teeth together. Be still. In the stillness, the impersonal I stands forth of itself, and health, supply, love appear as what they have always been, the forms grace takes when it is not resisted by effort. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Added, not acquired. Revealed, not achieved. Understand this clearly and keep it close. The moment you use I am to get, you've lost it. You have traded realization for strain. But when you rest in God is, and let I am be God's own self-announcing presence, the name lightens, the burden lifts, and where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Not because your formula worked, but because God is God. Now carry this into the very place where the heart trembles into healing. Hear me plainly. No man has ever lived capable of healing another person spiritually as a personal act. Not Moses, not Peter, not John, not the Master. I can of mine own self do nothing. The Father within me doeth the works. The moment you imagine a healer here and a patient there and a God somewhere else to be petitioned, you have cut reality into three and closed the door on the one presence. Do not do it. God is one. If God is one, there is not a healer and a healed and a helping God. There is only the one, life appearing as all. Healing is not a transaction across distance. It is recognition right where you are that there is no distance in God. Where two or three are gathered together in my name, there am I in the midst of them. Do not picture three plus a fourth named God. The I in the midst is the only I. When we gather in that name, which is I am, we do not assemble personalities. We yield into oneness. The practitioner is not a person charged with power. The practitioner is a state of consciousness that knows God is one. The patient is not a separate sufferer outside that knowing. The patient is the same life, the same Christ, obscured by appearance. There is no across in spirit. There is no sending of truth over miles. Omnipresence needs no vehicle. Recognition, not radiation. Oneness, not operation. What, then, is our practical posture when a call for help comes? Not to think thoughts at a problem, not to take on a burden as if your shoulders were broader than the cross that has already been lifted. Be very firm in your understanding of your own inadequacy. I can of mine own self do nothing. Hold those teeth together. Let your tongue fall quiet before you talk to God. Whisper once, God is, and wait. Let the Father within announce himself without your edits. You cannot see it, hear it, taste it, touch it, smell it, or think it. Yet as peace appears, you will know you are no longer two. You are no longer three. You are resting in the one. That rest is the treatment. That rest is the healer. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Do you see the rescue here? You do not pull another out of a pit with the rope of your mind. You discover there never was a pit in God. You do not strap their fear to your back. You lay every burden at the altar where there is only the single power. As long as you believe there is power in a symptom and power in your counterthought to subdue it, you are far from the kingdom. But when you know there is only one power, you stop wrestling. You stop negotiating. You stop instructing God on the anatomy of disease. You recognize God is, and in that is, all that God is appears as harmony. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. Not you are their shepherd. The Lord is. Let me give you a picture to help the mind stop engineering. When the sun rises, does one window send light to another? No. Each window, when the shade is lifted, is flooded by the same sun. The practitioner is not a window with extra light to distribute. The practitioner is a window with a shade up. The patient for the moment has believed in a shade. Treatment is not pushing light through space. Treatment is recognition, the lifting of the one shade of belief in two powers. Instantly, without travel, the room is bright because it always was in the sun. In him, we live and move and have our being. Not one of us outside trying to get in. From this standpoint, We can meet symptoms, fear, and lack without wrestling. We look straight at the appearance and with a soft inner smile refuse to grant it power, not defiance, recognition. We do not argue with shadows on the wall. We turn to the light and let the shadows prove themselves to be nothing. Take no thought for your life. Take no thought for outcomes. Take your stand in the one. God is one. God is. The Lord is. That's all. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. And the Spirit of the Lord is present as the only presence when you stop being a separate healer of a separate patient and consent to be the transparency through which the impersonal I, the only I, announces itself. In that announcement, which is silence, which is peace, which is the felt I am without words, the works are already done because the Father within doeth the works. Now we take this out of the lecture hall and into the hour when the phone rings at midnight, when the breath shortens, when the bill lies on the table and the thermometer climbs. The senses report limitation. The mind demands a technique. The heart feels urgency and wants to run. Right there, at the very place where habit would snatch for a method, we stop. Stop. Do not fight an appearance with a better appearance. Do not crown a symptom with the garland of your attention. God is one. If God is one, there is no second power to fear and no second power called method to trust. Take no thought for your life, not because life is cheap, but because life is God. As long as you fear disease, you have announced disease as power. As long as you hate lack, you have enthroned lack as power. As long as you trust a method, you have raised up a rival to God and called it help. As long as you believe a holy sentence can arm wrestle a dark report, you are far from the kingdom, for you still believe in two powers, one to resist the other. But as long as you rest in God's isness, you stand free. As long as you return again and again to the single power, fear withers, methods go dumb, and appearances submit to their root, nothingness in the presence of the one. I am not asking you to deny what the eyes see or the ears hear. I am asking you to withdraw your consent that sight and sound are law. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. Righteous judgment is the recognition of God as the only cause, the only presence, the only power. Look straight at the appearance with a soft inner smile and refuse to grant it authority, not defiance, recognition. Be not afraid. It is I. Hear that. It is I, not a second presence entering to compete, but the one I, the only I, announcing itself where fear had tried to speak. When the pulse of panic begins its drum, do not lace up your boots for battle. Take off your shoes, for the ground is holy. Do not send thoughts at a condition. Cease believing thought is a projectile. Thought is not power. God is power. Therefore, there is only one power. Not by might nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord. The appearance will suggest urgency. The mind will offer a toolkit. The heart will plead for speed. Answer each with the same still answer. God is. Let that settle the dust. You can't see it, hear it, taste it, touch it, smell it, or think it. And yet, as you refuse to divide power, peace begins to appear. Perfect love casteth out fear. Love, not as emotion, but as the felt isness of God, dissolves the stage props of terror. Make this your stance. I refuse to confer power on what reports itself to sight and sound. I refuse to confer power on my cleverness to manage it. I take my stand in the one. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. The Lord is in that is works are already underway because the Father within doeth the works. You do not need to feel brave. You need only to stop granting credentials to appearances and to your counter-appearances. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. And now we will do the practical thing, not argue metaphysics, enter stillness. Hold those teeth together. Let your tongue fall quiet before you talk to God. We will not construct, we will receive. We will not aim at a result, we will recognize presence. In a moment, we shall sit, whisper once within God is, and let the whisper fall away, that the impersonal I may be felt as peace. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Let us go there now. Sit as you are. Let the spine be easy, the hands unbusy. Hold those teeth together. Let your tongue fall quiet before you talk to God. We are not here to get anything, fix anything, or make anything happen. Be very firm in your understanding of your own inadequacy. I can of mine own self do nothing. The Father within me doeth the works. This is not humility as performance. This is truth as doorway. God is one. If God is one, then there is no second power to oppose and no personal power to apply. Be still and know that I am God. Now, within whisper, once God is, if the mind tries to continue the sentence, stop, stop, say it once more, softly, God is, and let the word sink beneath all waters. Do not decorate it. Do not supervise it. We are not peering over God's shoulder. We are consenting to the already is. Your Father knoweth what things ye have need of before ye ask. Let the whisper end. Let silence do the praying. Turn attention gently, like turning your face to a warm light toward the simple fact of awareness itself. Notice that seeing, hearing, breathing all arise within a changeless knowing. Without adding a name, notice the you that is aware, not the body, not the yesterday, not the thinking that comments on it, just this clear, open, edgeless knowing. Before Abraham was, I am. Do not make a sentence of it. Let it be a presence. You can't see it, hear it, taste it, touch it, smell it, or think it, and yet it is obvious, nearer than breath, without effort. Rest as that. If a thought knocks, schedule, memory, fixing, do not open the door. Let the knock pass on its own sound. If a feeling surges, fear, hope, urgency, bow to it without naming it, and let it move along like weather across the sky. Return if you need, with a single pebble drop, God is. Then again, let even that fall away. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. We are not holding the quiet. We are being held by it. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Now, notice the subtle ease appearing, the softening in the chest, the loosening behind the eyes, the ground that feels more present than the feet upon it. Do not say, I made peace. Do not claim it. This is grace. This is the Father within doing the works. The impersonal I has announced itself without speech. It is not a personality improved. It is presence revealed. That presence is the healer, not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit, saith the Lord. Remain a few breaths as a transparency for that. No project, no aim, only is. If an image of someone needing help appears, do not send thought. Let them rest in the same oneness where you are resting now. God and the practitioner and the patient are all one. No across, no distance, no doing. Only the one life, the one I being itself right here. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. Let that shepherding be felt as atmosphere, not argument. Now gently allow the room to return to your noticing sounds, light breath. Do not measure. Do not ask, did it work? Prayer does not work. Prayer reveals. If there is peace, bow to it as gift, not achievement. If there is no noticeable change, do not stir the waters to check their clarity. The Lord is regardless of weather. Carry this stillness like a lamp with no handle, light with no edges. Acquaint now thyself with him and be at peace. God is, the Lord is, that's all. In that all, the work is already underway, because the Father within doeth the works. Now let us make this the way you live, not just the way you sit for 3 minutes in a meeting. A discipline, yes, but not a strain. A rhythm, the kind your heart already knows. Several times a day, stop, not to produce, but to remember. Upon waking, before the first glance at the world's report, stop. Whisper within, God is one, God is, and then be still. Mid-morning, when the hum has you by the collar, stop. Noon, when the headlines tell their tale, stop. Evening, before sleep would fold, you stop. Not long, 30 heartbeats, 5 slow breaths. God is. Be still and know that I am God. Each time you stop, let your body help you obey. Hold those teeth together. Let your tongue fall quiet before you talk to God. Whisper once God is, and let the whisper sink like a stone beneath all waters. Do not fish for it. Do not finish the sentence for God. Your Father knoweth what things ye have need of before ye ask. You are not informing omniscience. You are consenting to isness. You are not adding a bright thought to a gray day. You are getting out of the way of the day that never dims. This is not effort. This is remembrance. Remembrance, not repetition. Realization, not recital. In the early days, you will find the letter helpful. The mind is a loyal stenographer. Let it take a short dictation. God is one. God is. That is all. Use the letter only as a handrail to the landing where words end. Watch for the simple sign of arrival. Peace appears of itself. You can't see it, hear it, taste it, touch it, smell it, or think it, and yet you will know it. The jaw softens. The breath unknots. The room brightens without new lamps. When that appears, drop even the handrail. The Spirit has dawned for this moment. Do not measure it. Do not ask how much or how long. Let grace set its own terms. Harmony doesn't come by might or by power. Harmony comes by grace. Now here is your moment-to-moment replacement for compulsive affirming. When you catch the mind beginning its chant, I am this, I am that, treat that very impulse as your bell. Stop. Stop. Do not scold the mind. Do not feed it. Be very firm in your understanding of your own inadequacy. I can of my own self do nothing. The Father within me doeth the works. Whisper once God is, and return to stillness. In that quiet, the heavy I drops its toolbox. The holy name ceases to be a lever for getting and resumes being a light that reveals soon, without your arranging, I am, will rise in you not as a sentence but as a presence, weightless, ownerless, bright. Before Abraham was, I am, not yours, not mine, the name announcing itself. Carry this rhythm into the corridors of your day, waiting for the elevator, God is. Phone rings with news, God is. A bill opens like a mouth, God is. Do not use the words to oppose the appearance. Use them to withdraw your consent from two powers. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. Turn from the shadow to the light. Seek ye first the kingdom of God. Seek first the realized is, and all these things are added. Added, not manufactured. Revealed, not achieved. If you are faithful with little pauses, you will find that a great hush begins to accompany you, even when you are not pausing. The closet comes out into the street. You stand at the sink and sense it. You sit in a meeting and sense it. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Liberty from methods, liberty from managing, liberty from the burdened I. This is how I am becomes light again, not the banner of a person, but the echo of presence. As the days pass, your confidence will not be in your practice, but in the one you practice, remembering God is one. God is, the Lord is, that's all. And in that all, the Father within doeth the works. We have come all this way to make one thing plain. We halted the treadmill of vain repetitions. We set down the toolkit of the personal doer. We saw through the idol of thought, good thought as well as bad, and we discovered that prayer is not a project but a receiving. We learned to let God is be not a statement to believe, but a door to enter. In the hush beyond words, the heavy I dissolved, and in its place the impersonal I began to announce itself as peace. That is our journey. The letter bowed to the spirit. Effort yielded to grace. The many powers faded, and the one power stood forth without rival. Now hear this, and let it comfort you. You do not have to make I am true. You only have to stop putting a person behind it. The name is true because God is. Before Abraham was, I am, not your boast, not my slogan. The is that precedes every sentence. When you stop fastening the name to a wish, a fear, or a project, the name speaks for itself. I live, yet not I, but Christ liveth in me. That is the paradox in the release. As long as you insist on being the one who must do, say, or think enough to qualify for harmony, I am becomes a burden. The instant you let go into the one presence I am becomes a lightness, a liberty, a life that lives itself. What then is our seal, our final word? It must be the simplest. God is, the Lord is, that's all. Be still and know that I am God. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. The kingdom of God is within you, not within your sentences. Within you as presence before thought. You can't see it, hear it, taste it, touch it, smell it, or think it. And yet, it is more obvious than breath when you stop trying to own it. When you stop arranging, the Father within doeth the works, not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit, saith the Lord. So let us close with a practice, not a posture for tomorrow, but for tonight, this very night. When the house quiets, do not take up a list. Do not take up a method. Hold those teeth together. Let your tongue fall quiet before you talk to God. Whisper once within God is, and then stop. Stop. Let the whisper fall beneath all waters. Be very firm in your understanding of your own inadequacy. I can, of my own self, do nothing. The Father within me doeth the works. Sit as one who consents to be carried. Do not ask, how long, or did it work? Grace has its own rhythm. Your Father knoweth what things ye have need of before ye ask. Let him be God. If a trouble presents itself, do not attack it with thought. Do not negotiate with shadows. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. Turn again softly to the single fact. God is one. In that oneness, there is no healer and no patient and no problem, only the one. Life appearing as the many. Rest there. The appearance will knock, but you need not answer. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. Carry this seal upon your heart as you rise and as you lie down. As long as God is, I am, but not as a person, not as a striver, not as a thinker who must think the right thoughts. I am because God is. I am as transparency, not as performer, as instrument, not as engineer. In him we live and move and have our being. Let this be your identity and your practice. Tonight, this very night, enter the quiet, whisper once, God is, and be still. Let grace do the works. Then tomorrow and the next day, and in the hour of news and need, return to the same altar in the same silence. Seek first the kingdom, the realized is, and all these things are added added, not manufactured, revealed, not achieved. God is, the Lord is. That's all. In that all, you will find the name announcing itself in you as liberty. And because God is, you are. Amen.